An Introduction to NumPy, Part 2. In our earlier lesson we have learned the basics of NumPy. This is the continuation of our earlier lesson. Here we will learn few more useful operations of NumPy arrays, such as reshaping an array, stacking arrays horizontally and vertically, broadcasting, transposing a matrix, reversing an array, flattening multidimensional arrays, saving a NumPy array to a file and loading NumPy arrays from a file, etc. So, let's begin. Reshaping an array. Reshaping an array means changing the shape of an array such as from 1D to 2D. Here is an example. Here, A is an 1D array with 12 elements. Let's create a 2D array B from the 1D array, A. The array B will be a 2D array with 3 rows and 4 columns. Here, we have created the 2D array, B, by reshaping the 1D array, A. We can reshape an existing array with our required dimension, but the total number of elements of the new dimension must match with the total elements of the exiting array. Let's check few more examples one by one. If the new size does not match with the total number of elements of the original array, we will get value error as shown on the screen. Flattening an array. Flattening is the process of converting a multidimensional array into a one-dimensional array. For this purpose, we may use the flatten or the revel methods. Let's check this example. Here, A is a 2D array. Let's flatten the elements of the array, A, and assign it to B. Look, the array B is one-dimensional. As said earlier, we may also use the revel method for flattening an array. Stacking arrays horizontally and vertically. Let's create two two-dimensional arrays A and B. Now let's create an array C by stacking the arrays A and B vertically, array A on top and array B at the bottom. As you can see, the array C is created by stacking the arrays A and B vertically. Now let's stack the arrays horizontally, A at the left and B to the right-hand side. Splitting is the opposite process of stacking. Here, we can split an array horizontally or vertically using H-split and V-split. Here A is a 2 by 4 array. Let's split the 2D array, A, horizontally into two 2D arrays and assign these to variables B and C. Now let's change the array, A, to a 4 by 2 array. Now we will split the array, C, vertically into two 2D arrays and assign these to variables B and C. Broadcasting. Sometimes, we may need to perform operations between an array and a scalar or between two arrays of different sizes. In case of a scalar value, the scalar is applied to the array in such a manner that it appears to be an array of the same dimension with all elements as the scalar value. Let's first check these examples. Here, A is an 1D array with 5 elements. Let's multiply a scalar value 2 with the array, A. Observe that, the value 2 is multiplied with all the elements of the array, A. That is, during the multiplication operations, the scalar 2 appears as an array of the same shape as the array, A, with all the elements as 2. This is known as broadcasting. Now let's check another example of broadcasting using a 2D array and a scalar 2. Here, again the scalar value 2 appears as a 2 by 2 array with all the elements as 2's. Now let's consider the case of a 2D array and a 1D array. Here, A is a 3 by 4 array and B is a 1D array with 4 elements. Let's multiply the arrays, A and B and assign the result to C and check the result. As seen from the output, the 1D array is conceptually converted to a 3 by 4 array where each row consists of the 1D array B and then the multiplication operation is performed. Now let's consider B to be a 3 by 1 array and perform the same multiplication operation. In this case, the array B is conceptually converted to a 3 by 4 array where each column consists of same 3 by 1 array elements. Reversing ndarrays using flip. Let's reverse a 1D array, Now let's consider a 2D array. Reversing the 2D array without mentioning the rows or columns that will be reversed. As seen in the output, the elements that were first in the original array are moved to the last and vice versa without considering the rows or columns. Axis equals 0 implies rows. Here the rows will be reversed. That is, the first row will move to the last and vice versa. Axis equals 1 implies columns. Here the columns will be reversed. That is, the first column will move to the last and vice versa. Transposing a matrix. Let's consider a 3 by 3 matrix, A. We may get the transpose of A using the property T. Please remember that the transpose operation create a new matrix by converting the rows to columns or the columns to rows of a given matrix. The same can be done using the transpose method also. Saving ndarray objects to files using the save method. Let's first create a ndarray object X, a 1D array. Let's save the ndarray object X to a file my_array1. The default file extension is .mpy. We may load the ndarray object from the saved file my_array1.mpy using the load method. Let's run the code and check the result. Carefully observe that a file named my_array1.npy is created in the current folder. Saving ndarray objects using saveZ method. If we wish to save multiple ndarray objects in a file, then we may use the saveZ method as shown in this example. Here X is a 1D array and Y is a 2D array that we wish to save in a file. Let's save the objects X and Y to a file named my_array2 using saveZ method. Here X equals X and Y equals Y implies that we wish to save the object X as X and object Y as Y, so that later we load these objects using the names X and Y respectively. The load method is used for loading the objects from a file. Here the file extension is npz. The .files property is used to get the names of the saved objects. If we wish to save the objects in compressed format, then we may use the saveZ_compressed method. It is similar to saveZ, but here the data is compressed. Saving ndarrays to text files using saveTXT method. NumPy provides another way for saving ndarray objects using saveTXT method. And for loading, we may use the loadTXT method. Here is an example. This is all for today's lesson. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe the channel for more such useful lessons. Happy coding, bye!